heading the way. Politically deconstructing, we're going to cover the Minnesota protests. So if you're joining us, I'm Cass. This is my lovely co-host, Lady Google. We're going to be talking today about the Minnesota protests going on, particularly the very MAGA contention with our armed leftist brothers and sisters. And as somebody who's rather politically homeless and unaffiliated, I find this to be absolutely wild that they're so mad. I don't know what you think, but I find it weird.
I think it's an interesting take considering I feel like the right is usually very pro 2A, very, like as long as you have the legal ability to carry or you live in a constitutional carry state, you should be able to carry.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I've seen so much about they're threatening ICE officers. Simply sitting there with a gun is not a threat. I want to be so clear about what that is. Now, if you get in an officer's way and you're obstructing them with a gun, different perception. If you point a gun, don't do that, by the way, at an officer or just another human being in general, that's a threat. Don't do that. But simply standing there and exercising your right to carry, which per Minnesota law, you absolutely have the right to carry a handgun or a rifle as long as you are permitted to carry. That's just how it works in Minnesota.
I don't know, Cass. Libs with guns look really scary.
I mean, I think maybe has the right adopted the lefty opinion of banning things because they look scary?
They're scary. Yeah. I mean, that's really how it's feeling right now. That's what it looks like. Libs with guns. Libs are showing up to protest with guns. How many instances can you think of where the right protested and had firearms with them? You got any
off
specifics?
the top of my head? There's at least 3. We know, we've talked about the Charlottesville one this morning.
Mm-hmm.
January 6th. Whether you believe it or not, people, there were multiple firearm charges involved with January 6th, even though they all got pardoned for them. So woo. And then, wait, wasn't there this one guy who went across state lines and unalived? What is his name again? I can't remember.
Was it Kyle Rittenhouse?
Oh my God. Yeah.
That
Weren't
guy.
they screaming, that's his Second Amendment right?
Yeah. That one was a thing. I remember specifically the 2020
You can
Michigan.
go look up the firearm charges on January 6th. They're freely available online. Just a note.
I remember in Michigan, armed protesters stormed the Michigan State House while they were shut down.
Oh,
and they
my.
actually went in and were intimidating lawmakers because they wanted the state back open. And that was, questionable, but totally legal for them to go to the Capitol while they're in session with their firearms.
And it's just such a crazy, crazy world that we live in that somehow now people can't be armed if they're on the left. I find this sort of political hypocrisy. Please do not get me wrong and do not take me wrong. I have said, and Google has heard me say it, she can verify this. I have said for years now that Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot with the Second Amendment. Nobody believes me until they really need to exercise their Second Amendment. Nobody ever wants to believe me until shit like this happens. It's man, maybe Cass had a point. Yeah, I did.
No. Yeah. Women don't make points.
I know. It's crazy talk.
What about specifically because we're talking about them standing off with federal agents, what about the Bundy Ranch standoff that happened in your great state?
Yeah, standoff with federal agents are kind of wild, and it sort of starts to develop into what side are you on with this? Now, for me, I'm not a fan of the feds. I'm fuck you, bitch. Get your warrant. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not giving you shit until you have a warrant from a judge. That's just my general attitude towards life, though. So, like, don't take it personally, Fetties. Like, I don't care. I don't like the ATF. I think they like to shoot dogs and unalive people and never have to pay for it. That's my bigger issue with everything that's going on right now. This has really brought this to a crux for the left. They don't really feel like they've seen before. I don't think that this has ever happened to people on this side where they're like, oh my fucking God. I mean, we did have with state police in Minnesota with George Floyd, but that had been happening repeatedly. But I think this is a wake up call to all of us, whether you agree with what ICE did or don't agree with what ICE did. That's not the problem here. I find it very ironic, though, that the Fed has done everything they can so that he doesn't have to see a day in court. Let me tell you how this works. What's the problem? Let them run their charges. If he's obviously not guilty, then you obviously have no problem. I mean, you like to waste our money on stupid shit anyway. Why not waste it on this? He's not paying for his attorney. He'd be defended by the DOJ. I'm just saying, like, there's absolutely no reason. It makes no sense.
It's the hypocrisy for me. Like, I'm not typically a fan. And I'm a little more left than you are. And the Second Amendment is one of those iffy subjects for me because I'm probably for a little more regulation than you are. But I'm not really a fan of people just walking around at protests because it makes for a very tense situation brandishing guns. For me, it's the hypocrisy. It's the rhetoric that it's okay when they do it. Like we said earlier, the laws for thee, but not for me. It's the hypocrisy for me in so many instances. One of the things that's bothering me about all of this, like recently the DOJ said that Kristi Noem said that American citizens are going to have to start proving their citizenship, that we should start carrying around papers. And it's very reminiscent to me of the right when we were supposed to carry COVID cards for vaccination. And they were like, oh my God, that's fascism. What do you mean I have to show my papers? But now when we are told we have to prove our citizenship as American citizens, I've heard a lot of people on the right that are defending that like it's okay. And again, it goes to the hypocrisy for me. I don't understand why we're so willing to give up freedoms as long as it's our side imposing those regulations.
Well, and see, so it kind of plays into a complex thing, particularly regarding ICE. So under the INA, the ICE has every right to question and detain, not arrest, detain. Detainment can stay for up to 72 hours for questioning, but they do have every right under the INA to do that so long as they believe that that person may be in the country illegally. This is a case, and in particular where that case is cruxing on for some of the racial profiling that we're hearing about right now. Can't remember the case name for the life of me off the top of my head. But here's the thing. It's only an order on a stay. It's not a decision in stone. Right. It's just an order on a stay. That's all it is. But they come to an American citizen and they want their ID. Legally, you don't have to identify yourself. However, it raises a bar of reasonable suspicion that you may not be here legally. So then you get into the issue of them detaining you. And
I'm totally a Swiss national.
Yeah. And because we've heard so many stories about people sort of disappearing after detainment, not even arrest, mind you, but detainment, I would say it like this. You don't have to, but it's going to be in your best interest to do so, merely because I don't want you ending up in detention where you disappear. But
you
again,
end up on a plane,
shift
to another state while they question you.
We don't want you in CCOT, okay? Look, I am not saying you have a legal obligation. I am simply saying that for right now, it may be in your best interest. Do I like this reality? No. But I think we're moving swiftly to what's going to be a very different reality for all of us.
And I'm just going to tell you, my little white ass is not going to comply. I'm going to be like, fuck you, bitch.
No, yeah.
I mean, that's very cool to say right now in the safety of my office in northern Indiana where we're not having ice raids. But
I am a very...
I would like to believe I will not fucking comply.
I am a very redheaded white male lady. The likelihood that I would be asked is low, and I completely understand that. Here's the thing. I mostly keep to my house anyway. So like, you cannot pay me to go outside to do something I don't have to do. I'm that bitch that
it's people-y out
there. I will order my groceries. Like, that's how much I don't want to be out in the streets. Like, I'm going to Minnesota this week and I'm already straight nervous because I'm going to have to be peopling, and I'm not a peopler, but I got to get my rounds in every once in a while. So I'm going to go people out there, be a hard-hitting neutral reporter on the protests, even though I'm a low-key, I kind of back the protests. Like, I'm not even going to lie. But I'm going to try to report on it from a neutral perspective. But anyway, back to the reality of it. But if you show up at my house without a judicial warrant, I will slam the door in your face. I do not care.
And that's something that people, I don't think, understand, is the difference between an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant.
So,
and that's becoming problematic. Would you like to cover that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So for sure, I do have a video on my page, and I think it's one of my pinned videos, but if not, you absolutely can shoot me a DM and I will send you the video. I tried to have somebody translate it into Spanish for me, but it did not work out very well. But if anybody knows anybody who can do that, please hit me up because I would love to have it translated. Okay, so there are two kinds of warrants. Most people are never even aware that there are two kinds of warrants. There is an administrative warrant. There is a judicial warrant. Judicial warrants come from a court. It says it at the top, what court it's from. It is signed by a judge at the bottom. And it either lists the specific person, like if it's a warrant for arrest, or the specific items to be seized, a search warrant. It's signed off by a judge. All the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. Administrative warrants are like they'll say something at the top to the effect of like Department of Homeland Security or Customs and Immigration Enforcement. Like that's what they're going to say at the top. It'll be an executive agency. It'll list some arbitrary bullshit like we have a warrant for so-and-so, or we need to do so-and-so. And then it's going to be, sometimes they're signed by an immigration judge. Immigration judges are not Title III judges, by the way. They're executive branch. It is not the same kind of judge, or they'll be signed by an agency representative. Now, when it comes to your rights, this is so important. It's not that you can wipe your ass with an administrative warrant, but for all intents and purposes, you kind of can. Now, businesses, it's a little bit of a difference with compliance. I'm not going to get through the specifics because I don't think anybody's here for that. But if they show up at your house with a warrant, you crack that door or you crack a window and you say, give me your warrant. You take a real close look at that bitch and you identify the warrant. If it's administrative, you tell them, come back with a judicial warrant, and you shut the damn door. I don't care. If they show up with a judicial warrant, you're going to need to comply with that. They can pull you into court. But damn it, if they show up with an administrative warrant, you tell them to get the fuck out. I'm not doing this. You don't have to comply. You don't have to do anything. You say this is not a judicial warrant. You need to come back with one. I'm not complying. Shut the door. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. So that was some really good information, and I appreciate you passing that on.
You're welcome.
Because your rights matter. And while we are like talking about whether to comply or not comply, knowing what your legal rights are matter. Sometimes, and like I said, my little LED white ass may be able to do different things, but sometimes it is easier to comply and fight it out in court later. I don't necessarily always agree with that stance, but again, I understand that I'm coming from a place of privilege. Let's just call it what it is. Can I bring up one more instance of what I found to be super interesting with the left and the right on how they view things?
For sure.
I don't really want to compare Ashley Babbitt to Renee Good, but I'm going to use her as an example for, well, just for polling purposes.
I'm just fucking with you. Hey.
So I found it interesting because I found a Quinnipiac poll for whether or not the shooting of Renee Good was justified.
For sure.
And that's how they framed it. Actually what they said was it an unjustified shooting? Sure. And 92% of Democrats said it was unjustified. 59% of independents and 10% of Republicans said unjustified. So obviously, like, very partisan on that. So then I went back just for fun and I looked up the Ashley Babbitt thing to see if there was a poll for the same thing. And there was, and ironically enough, it fell again across party lines, which I do think they're very different instances. I'm not comparing them for that. I have a reason that I'm bringing Babbitt into this.
Sure.
She was 80% of Democrats felt that it was justified. 60% of independents felt that it was justified, and only 20% of Republicans found that it was justified. And the reason I bring her up is because we hear the right very often, like, hail her as a martyr, like that was their, unjustified unaliving by law enforcement. And they said, and this is why I bring it up, because we were talking the other day about legal issues and understanding the difference. Yeah. So Ashley Babbitt, I had somebody throw in my face the other day when we were discussing this, that Ashley Babbitt was proven in court to have been unjustifiably unalived because in civil court, he was found liable and she was awarded her family was awarded a large settlement because she was unjustifiably unalived. And I found it interesting that this particular group of people understood being held civilly liable for Ashley Babbitt, but do not understand being held civilly liable for E. Jean Carroll.
Well, and another thing I'm super curious about is, like, so she was unalived by Capitol Police. I would assume Capitol Police retained the same rights and qualities to qualified immunity that most other agents, officers, state, federal, local, whatever they are, do. I'm going to have to dig into that because I want to know, like, what they put forth. I mean, for me, with Babbitt,
I think it was just a settlement, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, so they settled. They didn't even fight it out.
It may have been a settlement. It was like 500,000 or 500 million. I don't fucking remember. I looked it up this morning. I didn't write it down. I should have.
Oh, if they did actually weigh it out in court, I would like to see that. For me with Babbitt,
it may have been settled now that I think about it. It was thrown in my face that it was civilly liable, and I remembered that specifically because my point to them was, you understand being civilly liable here, but not in the instance of Trump with E. Jean Carroll. It was strictly a hypocrisy point I was bringing up.
So if they settled, technically there would have been, he would have been no finding.
But that was their claim that they were found civilly liable, and they understood civilly liable in that context.
That's interesting.
But not in the other context.
Yeah, no, I think, like,
I don't.
Oh, go ahead.
You know what? I have my laptop.
So I think, like, some of the interesting stuff we're seeing out of Minnesota right now, not only the hypocrisy with the firearms, but we're also seeing, like, Tim Walz and Jacob Frey are now under investigation for obstructing ICE due to their speech. First of all,
do tell.
First of all, I've watched a lot of their speeches. I cannot claim that I have watched all of them. I am not a superhuman. I'm not magic. And I don't have a RSS feed for Tim Walz or Jacob Frey every time a news article comes up. But here's what I will tell you. From the stuff that I have watched, they have told people to be actively involved with protests if they want to be. They have told people to protest peacefully, and they have told people to record. Now, I will say after the Renee Good shooting, there were some very loud remarks from Frey for ICE to get the fuck out of the city. Those are his words, not mine. I know there's been some commentary, they're just like, you all are the fucking worst. You don't need to be here. However, that's well within their freedom of speech. They're entitled to feel that way. Now, if they had issued fighting words, like protesters go out and fight, very different feelings about it. However, I think the language is quite, it would be too hard to prove that in court. You can certainly take issue with it, but I think they might have a hard time sealing an indictment. However, if there are things I have not seen or you have a video of that and you take issue with something I'm saying, please send it to me. I will absolutely review it and I can always change my opinion. But right now, from what I've seen, I don't see any of that. But again, I'm not magical and I can't see everything. So, harsh words, yes. Fighting words, obstructing words, no. That's not what I've seen, at least. Let's see, what else do we have going on? We've got the shooting. We've got everything else. I found this quote from and you know how I feel about Tim Walz. I don't fucking like Tim Walz. I think he's a douche. But I did hear this one quote from him that I felt really hit the nail on the head when we were sort of talking about Renee Good. He was like, it's so funny that the DOJ is wanting to prosecute everybody except the officer that actually shot her.
Right. That's very telling, right?
Yeah, I mean, again,
we're going to investigate her wife.
Uh-huh.
We're going to investigate the local authorities. We're going to investigate the governor, all of the administration, but we're not. And did you see, I don't know if you saw, I think it was on Meet the Press this weekend or one of those shows, when the correspondent said Ross's name.
Oh no, Mom, Meet the Press.
Nome was like, don't say his name. I'm tired of him getting doxxed. Like, stop doxing our agents.
The funniest shit about all of that, the funniest thing is that JD Vance himself led to that dox. That's
right.
So
he is the one that released his name.
It's so crazy.
It's not like his name isn't in the front of every article, everywhere, anytime you look up this particular instance.
I actually don't think JD Vance released his name, but he gave enough identifying information that people could find him. Yeah, because it's a very unique.
The one who ultimately led to his doxing.
Yeah, that's a very unique incident. It's easy to look up, you know. You're not normally hearing about this ICE agent got dragged and got a bunch of, that's not a normality. So thank God for right now anyway, it's not. It may start to be in the future. I guess the real question is where do we go from here? I know we talked about this earlier and I do not feel like this is going to end well because the minute protesters fire shots, justified or unjustified, and they may very well be justified. I normally don't make a justification for that, but given the situation and what's going on, I can't say that I won't, but I think
it's a powder keg. And somebody's going to light a fuse and everything's going to go boom.
Yeah, and I'm sort of wondering, we've got Trump sort of readying, what is it, an Air Force regimen? Yeah.
I thought you said Army. I didn't go look into it.
Remember.
Originally, I thought you said Army, but again, I haven't looked into it. And you've got Tim Walz, who is getting the National Guard ready to mobilize. They've got their marching orders if necessary.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be real interesting how that dynamic is going to play out.
Minnesota, I'm putting it out like the secret. I'm coming to visit y'all this weekend. Can you just hold it off until I fly out on Tuesday? And then y'all can let all hell break loose. Like, all hell. Like, let her go. I just want to get out there, do some neutral interviewing, and like not have National Guard or the Marines like shooting me, please and thank you. I'll be good without it. But yeah, I am sort of really fundamentally concerned at this point. I think this is sort of the beginning of the end. I kind of saw it coming, but not maybe necessarily like this, but I did eventually think that like there is only so far you can push people. And I wonder,
like I said to you yesterday, like you can only push the citizenry so far. And when you are dealing with arguably the most well-armed citizenry in the entire world, we know statistically we have more arms in this country than we do people. It's definitely makes for a very chilling and interesting situation.
I mean, what do you do?
Yep.
We can only look, that's the thing is like, I will say I'm going out there to like cover this neutrally, but I have seen people out there very much up in the faces of ICE.
Which is one of the best reasons I shouldn't go with you, because
that would
I
be Lady
cannot
Google.
promise
Like, fucking
that I
bitch.
would be I cannot promise that I would be nearly as like calm as you are. I would get very caught up in the moment and be like, fuck you.
Well, and see, I'm very like chill. I'm very chill until I'm not chill. I am very much, I will stay out of the trajectory of officers. I am not letting them think I am going to impede them. And I'm not hating on protesters that are very much in it, because I think everybody has their place in this. But because Minnesota is not my state, I will not do anything there that could instigate things further if I can possibly help it, out of respect for the people that live there. If they want to do it, that is for them, and I support whatever they're doing. But I'm going to be neutral, because they're the ones that are going to have to bear the brunt of any bullshit I start.
Right. And I do understand that perspective, because you don't want to go there and be the person that pops it all off.
Yeah, exactly. That's my goal. That's right. What Cass does not want to be. I don't want to be that bitch in ICE's face when they do something to me, and then like she doesn't even go here, like.
Right, she doesn't go here. I'm Kyle Rittenhouse, and I went to a whole other state. I started a bunch of, like, not that he started the shit, but you know exactly what I mean. Like,
yeah. It's just one of those things, like, I feel like I have a responsibility if I'm going to be there to cover responsibility.
But ICE, don't start no shit in Texas where she's at, because then you might get different casts.
I'm well armed, and I don't put up with shit, so they're not going to start anything here because Greg Abbott's too busy jerking them off. Like, he don't care. Like, I mean, at least I doubt it. Now, if they start militarizing cities, then Hot Wheels is going in the ocean. That's all I'm going to say. Push them out at low tide.
You gotta laugh or you cry, right?
Not really, Greg Abbott. Calm down before I get secret Texas service or Texas Marshals showing up at my house. It's a joke.
You just make sure they show up with a judicial warrant and not an administrative warrant. That's all I gotta say.
No, I'll say this. I can hate on Greg Abbott all day long. I really fracking can. But he's smart as an attorney. Like, Ron DeSantis got in trouble for sending all those people up north because he didn't have them sign waivers. What the fuck did Greg Abbott do? He had every motherfucker sign a waiver. So
sign it.
He's gonna get, like, I hate him.
Like, if you're gonna be fucking devious, at least be smart about it.
That kind of thing. You gotta admire the, like, Lex Luthor moxie, I guess. Maybe that's what I could call it. Like, Look, I hate on him for pretty much everything, but I will say he's a capable attorney, though I hate him and he's an asshole. Um, but anyway, yeah, so
It is. Go
no, no,
ahead.
no, you're good. Go forward.
I'm still reflecting on the fact that we're just dealing, for me, it's still just the hypocrisy of the situation. Like when right side people have their Second Amendment right, it's constitutional. And now it's a problem. And I don't understand. Like I just don't understand why we're so willing on both sides to give up rights as long as it's the other side.
Well, and that's the problem too, right? Like that's the whole issue is like the left. I know I have told y'all this shit before. I'm going to scream it for the people in the back that need to hear it. And I'm gonna hold your hands, Pookies, when I say this. There is a reason I have been so anti-gun control, anti-gun ban for as long as I have. The exact reason I've done it is the situation we're walking into now. Don't hold any illusions that you can fight the government, right? Like I'm not telling you to like
Yeah, we're
hold
not
those
going to beat a
illusions.
tank.
However, you can go down swinging. Maybe you can prevent yourself from being taken out a few times. I'm just saying, like you can be mad all you want. Quit shooting yourselves in the foot. And also to
really
the
like-
right, quit being such vile fucking hypocrites. The left have guns. We're just not out here screaming every day like about, you know, pew pew pew. Like you can be a gun owner and exercise your rights. And this is going to be coming to TikTok soon because it's hot in my Twitter feed right now. So it'll be here in about 2 days, debates that are coming about these armed protesters. So please prepare yourselves. Minnesota law, as long as you have a permit to carry, you may open carry a long gun, rifle, in other words, and a handgun. Neither one of the people pictured that's floating around right now. There is an African American gentleman and a white guy with a very big rifle. Neither one of them have been proven not to have a permit to carry. So as long as they are legally permitted, they were exercising their rights absolutely legally. There is no brandishing law in Minnesota. There are laws against pointing your gun at somebody, but holding your gun is not, there's no brandishing law. So prep yourselves for this. It's coming like a freight train.
I would like to remind people, Democrats treat guns the way Republicans treat abortions. We have them. We just don't talk about them.
I mean, I do 2A debates, so I do, but
You do.
I do it in the sense of like, I'm talking about the law. I'm not being like, I got an AR and I got a blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, nobody. I have quite a few, but I've never like sat here and told everybody how many different styles I have.
I don't even
I will
have
tell you,
an-
I got a couple few thousand rounds of ammunition, so you can fuck around and find out if you want to.
What's so funny? I don't even have an AR. Like, and like, I don't have it. I'm a pistol girl, like to my soul. I think I have a rifle in my closet, but I've never fucking used that bitch. But yeah, like, I don't get on lives, like, I get on 2A lives, but I don't get on 2A lives to like be like, oh, here's my gun. I get on 2A lives to like educate people on the law, facts, and other things surrounding guns. So yeah.
Right. So, yeah, no, we're living through a really interesting time, right?
I mean, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Since we're just having fun here, if you were a betting woman, over or under on 6 months that we're heading into just full on civil unrest?
Under.
Under? Okay.
Under.
I'm going under. I'm thinking like 3 to 4.
I'm saying under. I would go under 6 weeks.
Really?
If the escalation continues at the rate it has been going since Renee Good,
Yeah.
if we continue on that trajectory, I take the under on 6 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, I'm a pessimist too. I mean, I prefer to call myself a realist, but let's just be, I might be a bit of a pessimist.
No, I think you're probably more accurate, but I think the optimist side of me is hoping
Wants to believe.
that maybe we can like sort of stave this off, but with the Trump administration absolutely refusing to pull back and Minnesota being equally as pissed, and I'm not saying they don't have a right to be, I want to be clear about that. But
Right.
being very much, I don't care if it's 20 degrees or negative 20 out here, I'm gonna be out here all fucking night in front of the Whipple building yelling at you. Like they give no fucks. Like I had to freaking buy shit on Amazon for my trip. Like crazy. I had to buy snow boots and like I didn't know what I was gonna be walking into.
Aw.
I'm Texan. Like I'm not
I
used
know
to
you
20
don't have cold weather gear.
I do have a
Like,
good jacket. That's the but I bought like long johns and everything.
yeah, we literally have like vests that have like they're heated. So like if we're out hunting or we're out like the kid has one for riding or horse or whatever, like heated socks, heated gloves, heated vest. Like we have those things.
Man, I never even like thought about trying to find something heated. I was just like, oh, maybe long johns. That's all I could think of. So I was like,
I
let me
would
get some
suggest
long johns.
I would suggest trying to order it, but Amazon has been slow AF recently, so I doubt you'd get it in time.
Maybe I can just buy one when I get there. Like, I mean,
Maybe.
I bet they have one somewhere. I'm sure they have to. I can go to like
Hunting, any kind of like hunting store or athletic store that sells hunting equipment, you could probably find one, especially up there.
go to like Dick's or something, Sporting Goods or something like that.
Duluth Trading Company may have one. Find a
No,
Duluth. Yeah.
that sounds good.
I
Yeah,
am not endorsed by anybody, but they do have some really expensive but good shit.
Duluth Trading Co. Okay, I'll have to remember that. I'll have to be like, Uber, take me to this place. But yeah, I think this was fun to kind of like chit chat a little bit about. I just prepare yourselves that the armed protesters debate is going to be hot on your doorstep as this continues.
And it's going to be the people you least expect that are going to be telling you you no longer have the right to bear arms.
And you absolutely do. We'll run through Minnesota law one more time for the people in the back. If you have a permit to carry in Minnesota, you can openly carry a handgun or a long gun, aka like a rifle, right? You can openly carry those as long as you are permitted to carry. If you are standing there, not obstructing, you are just simply standing there armed, you are fully within your rights to do so. Now, if you get in their way or you point your gun at them, that's going to be a very different story for you. However, simply standing there with a gun is well within your rights. There's absolutely no brandishing laws out of Minnesota, despite people not knowing how to read. Obviously, pointing or showing like you are going to be aggressive with the gun gets very different. But brandishing, which is people just think is just holding your gun, no law against that. So.
But let's be for real. You're allowed to look scary.
Yes.
There is no law against looking scary. Think about how many times we see protesters dressed in tactical gear with their long guns or, one on each hip. Just because it's scary doesn't make it illegal.
And let's be so clear. Charlottesville, what were they armed with again? Goose, you had sent it to me earlier.
Oh, they had long guns. They had pistols on their hips. They were in full tactical gear to the point that sometimes you could not tell the difference between them and the police. They had weapon batons, like police baton style weapons. Like they were armed to the teeth for that. It was a lot of militia that showed up for that. Like fully armed and fully in tactical gear.
Oh, and I just wanted to say this because they did put in the comments, and we normally won't engage with comments too much, but this is absolutely right. Rebecca said, my gramps said, never point a gun at a person unless you are prepared to shoot them. Your grandpa was absolutely correct. Your success is going to be on your hesitation. Did you hesitate or did you fucking fire before that person was able to fire back? So be very aware of that. And please Just try not killing each other. That's always a good goal. But if you have to, if you are in self-defense, don't hesitate. That's all I'm going to tell you. Do not hesitate. Fire.
Be prepared. If you're a liberal, though, stand your ground laws apparently don't
Oh
apply
yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting the MAGA perspective on it versus the actual
Right.
legal application. Now, if you are a person, this doesn't apply the same way to officers, unfortunately. If you are a person, generally, if somebody starts to flee, you cannot shoot them. If somebody, like, this is a general rule of thumb, I'm not saying it's the exact rule in your state. Some states have castle, which is your home. Other states have stand your ground. You need to very much look up what is in your state laws. But a big part of it is that that person starts to get away, and they're obviously not getting away to like run to the guy next to you and injure him. You're well within your rights. However, some states do have a duty to retreat. Minnesota is one of them. If somebody attacks you, you can't necessarily attack them back. You have to retreat as the person being attacked, which is weird. It's very complex. I don't want to speak to this on an overall level because you need to be very aware of the laws in your state. If you don't know them, I am not an attorney, but I am good at looking up state laws. I can certainly send them your way. Just shoot me a DM. And you can read them and you can interpret them. I'm not doing that for you, not a lawyer. So
I think this was an interesting discussion, and I think we need to have more of these discussions where we're discussing the hypocrisy that flows from both sides, because it is
absolutely.
like, I think that's why you and I are able to do this, because we both feel very like in the middle with nowhere really to call home anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And I think there's more of us than there are of them. They just don't want to. Their fear of ostracization.
what?
They don't want to. They don't want their friends to pick on them.
Well, I think people don't want to lose a home. But here's the
Right.
thing. I want to ask everybody, and I really want y'all to marinate on this before we go. Is the Democratic Party even listening to anybody anymore? Republicans, we already know they're just going to do whatever the fuck they want, and their people are going to fall in line. But is the party even listening to us? Like, I mean, largely I caucus with Democrats because I can't vote for those crazy fuckers. Is the party even listening? Then why are we still supporting that party? Like, I am so tired of selling out to the highest donors because the gun control lobby donates a lot of money. Oh, hold on. That is why there's a big platform of gun control for Democrats. Go look up how much Everytown and the Bloomberg, and you'd be surprised how much money there is in that racket. And I'm not saying you cannot be about responsible gun control. You absolutely can. But let me ask you an honest question. When was the last time that anybody proposed real fundamental changes to ending poverty? I mean, we got universal health care, but actually universal health care fucked us because our insurance premiums are so high because they let private insurance into the market because that's the only way Republicans would deal. Like, why are we not pushing harder for representatives who want things that we can agree on, who want things that we can get together on? I'm so tired of it. And I'm so tired of them. They haven't even issued statements against Plattner, fucking Plattner out of Maine, who has a whole Nazi tattoo on him. Nothing. Fucking nothing. Or, I'm sorry, he got it either
Our
removed
whole
or
system's broken.
tattooed over, like, just, I want y'all to think about this until Friday. Because we will be live on Friday. I'll be in Minnesota, but we will be live for our normal thing. Just think about what they've done for you. And ask yourselves, why aren't we demanding better? That's all I would say. Googs, you got any final words, babes?
No, while people are thinking about why we aren't demanding better. I'm going to start looking into what we can do to actually demand better, like what steps we can take to get there.
The
We
big
can argue that it's voting, but let's be so for real. The majority of people vote based on name recognition and don't they vote for shit like president or senate and they have no idea who their down ballot races are.
The biggest thing all of us can do, because I guarantee you, unless you're living in a huge major city, like me and you, we're small towners, you know? A big thing I know we can do for surezies is get involved at the local level. Go to your party office, because all of you should have one somewhere around you. It may not be right next door, but it should be somewhere in your area. You can look up your local party office. I promise you, I've done it about 5 times. I've called mine about 15 times and never received a call back. And I'm about at the point where even as an independent, I'm going to go get out there and run for the chair portion of my local party, because they can't fucking return a phone call. We barely have any Democrats here. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
So that's something to think about, because when we start getting involved locally, we can affect change upwards. We
Right.
can move change upwards. Like, that's how they elect people. They saw people all started on a local level.
That's when people talk about wanting a third party. You can't start a third party at the top. You have to start a third party at the bottom.
Absolutely.
Because you have to have the basis to build on to get there. Because if you get to the top and you don't have anybody willing to work with you, what good have you done?
Well, I think Democrats could succeed if they adjust their platform for a base. So,
we should talk about that one day.
I mean, I swear to God, I have about 15 pages drafted where I totally redid the Democratic platform. And I'm like, have they ever elected me party chair? Because I'm the straight person who would give you a fuck you if you tried to get me to run somebody on environmental stuff in the Permian Basin. I would be like, that's
Right.
not going on a website. That's never
not
going
gonna
on a
happen.
website. Like, absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should, maybe that'll be our next episode. We could talk about that a little bit, but yeah.
We'll see what happens through the week and what you discover while you're in Minnesota before we start planning our next episode.
Oh, so
'cause
true.
every day we wake up to a fresh hellscape.
I
So
know. I thought about going by Quality Learning Center, but then I was like, I'm not a chud that films kids, so absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah.
I'm not a Nick Shirley. It's amazing how many people have shown up there and don't think it's weird though. Like, bro, that's fucking weird. But yeah.
it's fucking weird, bro.
It's weird, bro. Okay, well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with
Thanks for
us.
coming in.
Love you all, and we will be back on Friday. So come with us
Friday.
then. Bye,
And
guys.
Cass will be in Minnesota, so
I know.
everybody wish her safe travels.
I will. Cass is coming home safe. I'm neutral observer, neutral reporter. So hopefully I don't get any stray bullets or anything. So, all right. Love you guys.
All right. Bye.